And that is, in what way is the EPA's modeling system flawed or biased? Turn on your mic.
Sorry.
There.
The issue is not so much in the system itself as in the assumptions that go into the analysis, but more importantly, the reporting of the results that come out of it.
Right.
As I indicated in my testimony just now, there are estimates that are coming out of EPA's modeling system that are not being reported to the public in the way that they come out of the analysis properly.
And what would be the impact if it was reported correctly?
Well, as I said, instead of reporting, for instance, $1 billion of costs in 2020, they would report $17 billion of costs in that year. And there's an overall bias generally. A present value of $76 billion for the net cost across the whole time period also would be valuable to report.
So, in other words, if you skew the data, you can skew the results considerably.
That's certainly true.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Smith. And Mr. Magness, you addressed this in your testimony as well, but if you can, maybe give us a specific summary of what will states save, if anything, as a result of the Clean Power Plan, and more, I guess, I'd say the reverse. What is the cost to the states, and also what is the cost to consumers, if you can be specific?
In the ERCOT region, what we found is, as far as specific costs to consumers, was our model indicated that we would see a 16% increase in retail electric rates, and that's based on the amount that wholesale electric rates feed into the retail. So that was the basis of that in our modeling. In addition, the costs of things like transmission infrastructure are rather difficult to estimate with specificity because it depends on which projects we need to build. But if with the rubric that between $1 and $3 million per mile for transmission projects, and if you have to build long lines to take the place of units that have been retired, you're looking at multi-millions of dollars pretty quickly.
Right. I have seen, and maybe you're familiar with the analysis that came up with most states in the country would see double-digit increase in electric cost. Is that accurate?
We've seen data that suggests that, and it's consistent with what we found in the ERCOT.
Was it 40 states? I can't recall how many, but it was over a majority.
I've seen reports indicating that's
roughly
about the right
40
number.
states have 10% or more increase in electricity costs as a result of this plan, which arguably has no significant impact on climate change. Is that right?
We've seen that data,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Magness. And then, Mr. Knappenberger, what impact will EPA's Clean Power Plan have on Earth's climate, if any?
Well, it's very small. I testified it was about 2/100ths of a degree. That's 0.02. So you can't even detect such a change. And so
right.
you could put that in, and even if you met it, there's no quantifiable results that come out of it in terms of the climate.
I used 3/100ths of a degree Celsius. You used 2/100ths. No matter whether either of us is right, it's insignificant one way or the other. The other is, how accurate is the science behind the claims connecting extreme weather with a change in climate?
Well, unfortunately, there's an
or maybe I should make that specific. Increase in global warming, is there any connection between that and extreme weather?
Yeah, sure. There's a conflation, an unfortunate conflation between climate and climate change. And so the Earth's climate, the nation's climate, Washington, D.C.'s climate, is characterized by extreme weather events. They happen all the time. Whether or not we achieve any of these emissions reductions that we talked about, we're still going to have extreme weather events in the future. And they're weather events, and weather events are themselves influenced by tens or hundreds of individual factors. And so the science points to a climate change influence on some of those factors, but it's hard to know which ones are controlling the character of those events.
So often individuals point to one extreme weather event and use that to deduce that there's some kind of a connection. They know, and we all know, you can't use one incident as an example of a larger trend. And in fact, hasn't the trend been down as far as extreme weather goes over the last several decades?
That is true for many types of extreme weather across the U.S.
Thank you, Mr. Knappenberger. The gentleman